which player do we use, which format do we use, what speeds do we use, all those technical things. But at the end of the day, those technical things haven't really had much of an impact on the two things that matter to us. One is controlling our costs, and two, which is being able to develop a reliable revenue stream. So the objective really of this little session is to share with you some of what we've learned. So there's absolutely no sales pitch involved here, and if you want to say, OK, Dave, thanks very much, I understand what you've said, but I'm going to go away and buy myself a flash media player or whatever like that, fine, go ahead and do it. Right, I just want to sort of like do a very quick little bit about what's an internet TV station. Now, I'm going to use sort of like the idea of YouTube here as being the thing that an internet TV station isn't. Okay, so an internet TV station, it runs just like the type of TV station. It runs like Channel 4 or the BBC on your set at home. Okay, so that it runs stuff in a schedule. Yes, most of the stuff that we do, you can actually see it video on demand as well. But, and this is now one of the key things, when we give people the option of watching a whole holiday TV program, and for one of our programs, take Dubai for example, it lasts about an hour. Okay, we give people the option of watching the whole of the Dubai program or of watching just one individual clip. 3 out of 4 people watch the whole program. Okay, so the whole idea of, oh, it's video on demand, oh, we've got to give people the ability just to watch 5 minutes, oh, people have very limited spans of attention, it's not true. Certainly not in our case, and not if you get the right sort of programming. Okay, the average amount of time that people watch on our sites, we run more than one, is around about 25 minutes. Now, there are other sites, one I think is called Country Life, off the top of my head, where the amount of time that people spend watching a video there is up to an hour, and in some cases a little bit longer. Okay? So, what you're doing there is you're actually taking advantage of the notion that these internet TV stations, they're running a schedule, you're targeting a niche audience. If you've got the right content, you really can grab and hold people's attention. And for longer, actually, than, or it appears to be longer, than actually on terrestrial TV. And that's one of the advantages of the internet, because you can actually target a niche audience. Not just by your content, but by where you place your content. Now, that's all the good side, that's all the good stuff. The other side of it, though, is if you get a really big audience, what you have to think about is how you're going to use that audience to generate money, because the downside of running an internet TV station is if you have 100,000 people watching for an hour in a month, you've got a big streaming bill to pay. Now, that's one of the key costs, one of the hidden costs that you have to bear when you're running an internet TV station. I've just talked very briefly about programs there, but I do want to make this point that you do have to think about a proper program to hold people's attention. I'm talking about a program almost in the style of the BBC, for example. You know, you're telling a story. You have to entertain, you have to educate, and you have to inform. Just a 5-minute clip of your niece playing with her dummy is not going to be enough. Okay? I also want to cover this, remove any confusion between IPTV and broadband. And the key difference here is, in my view, IPTV is like a walled garden. IPTV, classically in the UK and also in most of Europe, it's delivered via a set-top box, and people either have to buy a set-top box with the channels preloaded or they subscribe to it. Okay? Now, it's almost impossible for you to break into that area, certainly initially. Broadband, on the other hand, you have access to the whole world. There's no restrictions on where people can watch. This is very good, but it's also very bad. And the reason why it's bad is, let's suppose you're sitting here in the UK and all of a sudden you have a really good month, and in this month you have, let's say, 100,000 viewers, and of those 80,000 viewers have come from Brazil and 20,000 have come from Manchester. It's very difficult for you to make any money on a free-to-view basis from the 80,000 viewers, the 80% of your audience that have come from Brazil, as opposed to the 20% that have come from Manchester. So having a big audience isn't necessarily the thing you want to have. What you want to have is an audience that in some way or another you can actually generate a revenue stream from. Because, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, those 80,000 viewers from Brazil you've not been able to make money out of, and they've cost you 80,000 people